Friday in more ways than one today. Rise and grind with us on the early line. It's Donnie right side. It's Joe Ranieri. The next 2 hours are ours and yours as well. Why? Because we got a big weekend of sports upcoming here. A full slate of Major League Baseball, NBA action, the Final Four on Saturday, and the championship game on next Monday here. So many hot topics to get to from here to there. It's time to get the show started, Joe. I know you're ready. The energy, the vibes are high. It's a Friday. Let's lead the people into the weekend.
Yeah, big Major League Baseball slate back today. And, hey, as soon as we can get to the NBA playoffs, sooner rather than later, it'd be absolutely outstanding as well there, Donnie.
They said, Donnie, the Lakers are on fire. You can't lay the 9 with OKC. Woo-hoo! Woke up to see an absolute blowout. That's how you start your Friday. You know, us, you started as well. Grab that cup of Joe here. Fill it up to the brim. Get after it, because Joe is going to deliver that hot topic.
Well, Donnie, I think today we need to talk about the absolute greatest quarterback in the history of the National Football League. And no, I'm not talking about Tom Brady, not talking about Peyton Manning, not talking about Patrick Mahomes. Talking about one Mr. Kirk Cousins, because yesterday Kirk inked a $10 million fully guaranteed contract with the Las Vegas Raiders for the 2027 season. Now, why does that matter? Well, because with the stroke of a pen, Donnie, Kirk Cousins has officially surpassed Tom Brady in all-time NFL career earnings. Let that sink in. Tom Brady played an entire career, walked away with $333 million and 7 Super Bowl rings. Kirk Cousins is now sitting at over $341 million with absolutely 0 championships, 0 awards to his name. But that, my friend, is GOAT status, because you have to respect the sheer hustle by Kirk Cousins. Anyone can hang around the league for a few years as a game manager and pocket a cool $3 million here, $4 million there, but nobody, and I mean nobody, has stuck it to the NFL owners and general managers quite like Kirk Cousins over the years. This man has now secured 11 straight years of fully guaranteed deals. And let's be brutally honest. Kirk was never some sort of truly elite. He was never this big top 5 franchise savior. But what he is elite at, Donnie, is cashing checks. Forget the Iron Man streak. Forget the passing yardage and the records and those types of things. Getting billionaires to constantly pony up massive guaranteed money for a good but not great quarterback might be the most impressive record in all of professional sports. We all need to find whoever Kirk's agent is and hire him to negotiate our next raise. But it does feel, Donnie, just like yesterday when Kirk dropped us one of the greatest post-game lines in history.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah, seems like it was just yesterday. But now, as he approaches 40 years of age, he has somehow convinced Clint Kubiak and the Raiders to hand him another cool $10 million just to hold the clipboard and mentor Fernando Mendoza so the kid doesn't have to get thrown to the wolves in week 1. It's a brilliant business move, and when it comes time to build his Braun bust in Canton, they shouldn't put him in the wing with the traditional quarterbacks. They need to put Kirk Cousins and his agent front and center in a brand new wing dedicated to absolute highway robbery. So this Friday, in honor of Kirk's shining achievement here, let's all walk into our boss's office and demand some guaranteed money, Donnie.
Absolutely. It's a great topic, too, because this is what, you see, like, players retire, like the Kelce's, right? Like, sooner or later, Travis Kelce is going to retire as well. Like, we're great at this podcasting. We're going to make even more money. If Kirk Cousins retired and opened up his own retirement investment fund, why would nobody, like, he should be the richest man on the planet. Like, I trust this guy because 11 straight years in the NFL, a fully guaranteed contract. And as Joe points out, he went to the Raiders, Joe. Did you know 2026, it's actually $20 million in guaranteed money. And the Raiders hope he never even plays a football game for them. It's like being a maestro of an orchestra right now for what he's doing. Can you, like, the backup quarterback who's not supposed to get any time and be a mentor to Mendoza is what the game plan will be? He's going to get a guaranteed contract out of an absolute genius. So, Joe,
Unreal.
let's get to the hot topics here for the early lineup, which does include Kirk Cousins. Yeah, if you didn't hear what Joe was saying, a Raider, Kirk Cousins, who might not play and is going to bank $20 million from the Raiders this year alone, which could go up to $80 million if it turns out he is the starter, Joe. Amazing.
I've never seen it. It's just, I can't. I tried coming up, Donnie, with something that is comparable. I mean, listen, we've all seen the bad contracts, but those guys only get bad contracts once. The Deshaun Watsons, they get one shot to cash out at a terrible contract, right? Kirk Cousins has just made an absolute science out of going from team to team and getting them just to fork over, not incentive money, but guaranteed money. Truly amazing stuff with Kirk Cousins.
Is truly amazing. Connor Griffin, you heard about him in the spring training down there in the Grapefruit League. Hammering baseballs here. Not a high average, but here he comes up to the major leagues to make his debut here. The rookie hoping to smash some baseballs. And also, if it works out for Pittsburgh, Joe, did you know if he plays the entire season, they actually get a compensatory draft pick back? You got to like that. Connor, he's up here now.
Yeah, Donnie, it's funny. I was in the predictive markets over the weekend. And Rookie of the Year, his name was up there, and I don't think a lot of people realize. They're like, who is this guy? But, you know, I'm sitting on a ticket now at a cool 10 cents right now for him to win Rookie of the Year. All I need him to do, Donnie, is have a couple of pretty good weeks there, and boy, oh boy, will that elevate his status across the board for that award.
Trevor Bauer, unofficially/officially banned from Major League Baseball. He's going to pitch with the Long Island Ducks. I guess he just likes to pitch because he's never getting back to the majors.
How old is Trevor Bauer now? It feels like 100 years ago. I know he was. It was a KBO he was in. He was in the Korean War or a Japanese league. He's made the rounds ever since, you know, he got wrongfully accused there and got tossed out of Major League Baseball. But they didn't like him to begin with before that whole situation happened. Doesn't look like he's going to get that shot to crack the rotation anytime soon.
No Tiger, no Phil in the 2026 Masters. Phil says he has some family issues there with some health problems. He's going to step away from the Masters. Got to be some pretty serious issues because Phil loves himself some Masters here. But two of the icons in the sport not going to be at Augusta this year.
Yeah, well, good riddance. I mean, come on, who are you kidding here? Let's bring on the next generation here. Let's see some competitive golf. Watching Phil Mickelson shoot 81 while betting his way around the Augusta. Yeah, it's all right. We're good to go. We'll see you next year, Phil.
Chewing gum, sunglasses on, give me that flat blade out there, getting after it here. How about Luka Doncic? He was hoping to maybe provide a spark yesterday to beat OKC. Now that spark actually turned into a fire in his hamstring. Don't like to see that. Hamstring injuries, I know about them. You won't see him for a while.
Just awful. I mean, everything was awful in that game. They almost lost Reeves in that game, too. I mean, it could not have gone any worse for the Lakers, who had won 9 of their last 10 games, Donnie. And now, yeah, the one guy you could ill afford to lose for any time, they just did last night. Unreal.
Italian president for soccer is going to give it up. Yeah, maybe you should. Did you know, Joe, that Italy hasn't won a World Cup game since 2006? What happened to one of the more dominant nations in soccer?
Hard left, Donnie. I mean, it did not work out well at all for them. That's unfortunate, but Italy fans not happy, but happy with this move, in fact.
Hey, the SEC, let's come up with an extra game so we can make the networks pay for it and then realize, oh, no, it might actually be hurting our teams once they get to the championship game and lose and not make the playoff. Let's abolish it here. Yeah, Joe says, absolute shocker. Not a shocker. We're here on a Good Friday. We're having some fun. Make sure you stick with us. We'll be back after the break.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 20 what? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money, or to find a middle, or man, that doesn't look right, I'm going to go under whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Friday Spreadlines here on a Good Friday. It's the Early Line. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. A lot of afternoon baseball games because some teams still, Joe, haven't had their opening days at home. Well, that's going to change today. The Miami Marlins on the road and playing damn good baseball, taking on the New York Yankees, playing damn good baseball right now. Perez versus Warren, a heavy favorite for those Yankees, now up to minus 178 to minus one, looks like 85 at most outlets here, and a total listed at 8. The Bronx is burning today with opening day, Joe. Give me a spread line today for Marlins Yanks.
Yeah, interesting. We actually saw some overnight under money come in, Donnie. So I don't know if that's a weather issue or what's going on there, because I know you've got two pitchers here. Will Warren, who's still, he has his moments, and then he has, a lot more, oh boy, is that another home run kind of moment there. But nobody has got crazier home road splits a year ago than Yuri Perez did. He was great at Marlins Park. He was not good on the road, Donnie. In fact, he was terrible on the road. Now he's got to go to Yankee Stadium. Like you said, Yankees are playing some tremendous baseball. I thought this would be a little bit higher if we're not lying. I thought this would be closer to $2 here, Donnie. But the Marlins have been playing some good baseball here.
Sure.
But the Yankees at home, afternoon, kind of tough not to look their way here at this point.
Yeah, about 60-degree temperatures, Joe. Light wind blowing out to left field. Can it change for Aaron Judge hitting $125 on the season? Still the MVP favorite. Maybe gets on track today, but a good game setting up there between Miami and New York here. Let's go up just a couple hundred miles north. Why? San Diego going to take on those Boston Red Sox. King versus Gray. Take a look at this line, Joe. Overnight around a minus 115 price. That's risen slightly here in Boston's favor. You see the graphic at a minus 124 price and a total listed at 8.5. King versus Gray. Boston gets to stay in the sun. Similar temperatures to New York. What's your spread line here?
Yeah, well, I mean, Boston better figure something out, Donnie, because maybe it's a little home cooking that they need, but it's not like they're rolling out their ace. They did that with Crochet and still got lit up there and couldn't win that game against Houston. So now they're going to try against the Padres, who might be a good thing for them to get away a little bit. Maybe they can score a few more runs here. But listen, Boston, that lineup is much better than they have put forward here. After that opening win in game one against, they 3-0, it was a shutout, and everybody thought everything's right with the world with Boston. No, 4 straight losses. Now they go home. Michael King, both of these pitchers I don't trust. It's very hard for me to look at anything other than an over, though, in this game, Donnie, because I don't trust either. The bullpens are good, but I don't trust either starter. So it would look first 5 over for me in this game.
Yeah, take a look at that. Boston didn't have a great time down in Houston, but maybe it is that home cooking to get those bats going and certainly get that pitching staff, which is very good on paper, back in rhythm here. Let's flip it over to the association tonight in Philadelphia. The Minnesota Timberwolves are in town to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Overnight, that line hit 2. Most outlets now, you see the graphic at 2 and 2.5, depending where you're shopping at. And the total listed at 233.5. The question's going to be, Joe, Minnesota Timberwolves superstar Ant-Man, is he going to play tonight? Joel Embiid, who said he wanted to play in the last game, but the Sixers wouldn't let him because he's sick. A lot of questions on who's in or who's out, but it looks like the Philadelphia 76ers are the favorite here tonight, Joe. What's the spread line tonight for Timberwolves and 76ers?
Well, both teams really at this point, it's like, all right, which version shows up here tonight?
Yep.
We thought Ant returning to the lineup of Minnesota would have been a good thing, but they weren't able to get it done against the, Detroit Pistons last game, even though the Pistons, again, still a little bit shorthanded. So to me, this is kind of a toss-up. And if anything, Donnie, I'm expecting points. I'm not expecting a lot of defense. I'm expecting points here. And I think that's the way to look at this game, up and over the total.
Parity, Joe. That's what most sports like. Everybody gets a chance at victory. Not really the case in women's college basketball. At least like it's 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four, Joe. And in the past, it was like, okay, it's either UConn or Tennessee and nobody else. At least we get some manageable basketball here that doesn't have 20-point spreads in the Final Four. But let's take a look at game number 1 here. That's South Carolina, and it's UConn. 2 powerhouses in women's basketball. UConn, Joe, favored by 6.5 points and a total of 135.5. 2 Titans going toe-to-toe tonight. What's the spread line here?
Yeah, I mean, this is huge. And in the second year in a row, Donnie, that we get UConn, UCLA, Texas, and South Carolina, all the number 1 seeds. But UConn and South Carolina actually have the pedigree because they have the national champ. They've cut down the nets before. Texas and UCLA have not. They're looking for their first title since 1986 and 1978, if you can believe that. So we might either have the same old here this year, or we could have some new blood in women's college basketball. But if you ask me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You got to love UConn, who has gone scorched earth this year. It's going to be a great battle, but this feels very similar to like the Arizona-Michigan kind of matchup, right? The 2 teams that everyone thought would likely preseason have a shot at winning the national championship. Well, only one is going to survive, and tonight, very hard to look anywhere other than UConn here.
By the way, in the men's game, I always get a kick out of it. In the Final Four, the better game is always play second. You'll watch it. You'll stay up to 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and it'll be fine. Check out Friday night here in the women's Final Four. They put the best game first at 7 o'clock. Why? They don't know if you'll stick around to that second game. They want the best out first in prime time to get after it. Smart move, NCAA. Game number 2, it's Texas and UCLA. Look at that line, Joe. A slight favorite towards Texas at -1.5 and a total of 132.5. Game number 2 of the Final Four women's edition tonight, Joe. What's the spread line for you in Texas, UCLA?
I mean, listen, the Longhorns are playing in a different level right now here. Anybody that just watched them dismiss Michigan in the Elite Eight, I mean, my goodness, they are also playing at a ridiculous level. UCLA, a lot of people returning from that team last year. They had to deal with a lot of injuries to start the season. And they had a couple of slow starts here, but boy, oh boy, did they put it together when it's all said and done. I have UCLA as the higher ranked team here, Donnie, and it feels like been there, done that. Feels like UCLA and UConn have a destiny in the finals.
And I got to tell you, Final Four tonight, women's, Final Four on Saturday for the men's. This is as good a talent as you're going to get from both the men's and the women's. The ratings should be there. The excitement should be there. The spreads are comparable here, and we're all looking forward to it. But now we're going to get to some news and notes in college bats, which includes the transfer portal on the women's side. Who's on the move? Find out next right here on the Early Line.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 20 what? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money, or to find a middle, or man, that doesn't look right, I'm going to go under it, whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
We teased just before the break on the move in the transfer portal, which is like 1,000 people in college basketball, 10,000 kids, it feels like, in college football and on the move. This is an interesting one here. And this came from ESPNW here. It says, breaking, Iowa State star Audie Crooks has entered the transfer portal, she announced on social media. So let me get this straight on this, too, because I do think it's an interesting topic. If you are at a Power 5 school, right, which Iowa State is, and who knows if they ever have a good enough team to get to the Final Four or win a championship, I don't know. But usually as a star athlete, it's like, okay, I'm at a school that will let me do whatever I want, Joe. If I want to go out and get a 30-piece tonight, 40-piece, I'm going to get that down. If I'm going to get 10 rebounds, whatever happens, I am the center focus and the superstar of this team. I can run the court and do what I want. I'm going to transfer out, and let's just say I go to UConn, and instead of playing 30 to 40 minutes, I play 15 minutes, and I don't start, but I'm a bench player, but I'm on a better team. There's that sort of equilibrium that you want to find, like that level of balance. Am I wrong for thinking she's making a mistake? Like, if I'm a star, I'm allowed to be a star here and dominate, but I'm going to go to a better school with a better chance to win, but maybe not play nearly as much? I don't think it makes sense.
Well, I mean, Donnie, she has a very unique skill set. She was the number 2 scorer in the country this
Correct.
year.
Yes.
And all she does is play with her back to the basket, and she posts up on everybody. I think 70% of her offensive possessions is her posting up near the basket, and she converts at a ridiculous rate. Now, you've got to have a very unique offense and team, right, that surrounds her along those lines to play that kind of offense. So she could go to the WNBA draft if she wanted to, but she's opting to play one more year. I don't know if it's a cash grab or what it is, but she's going to have to find a team because she plays no defense, Donnie. You're not getting out in transition with her running up and down the court, and she has defensive limitations, but nobody can guard her in the paint, which makes it very unique. So I don't know where she's going to go, but they better have an offense that's built around post playing. I'll tell you that.
You remember they said the St. Peter's kids that made that nice run in the tournament here, and they could have all come back to St. Peter's. I mean, heck, even their coach left. You can't fault them for chasing a little bit of a bag here, but they all went to other schools and were basically bench warmers at that point for a little bit extra money, as opposed to saying, let's run this back and we can all be superstars. Like, the kids are going to make their decisions, and money is a factor. There's no doubt about it. But I always see that, hey, I'm going to transfer out. Like, you have the perfect situation that you're transferring out of. It almost be like a college quarterback, Joe, Power 5 school that throws for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, goes, I'm going to transfer to like the SEC. Well, why'd you only throw 21 touchdowns and you got benched in game number 7? Sometimes it doesn't make that much sense, but they'll figure it out here. How about this tweet from DraftKings, Joe? Since 2018, every team to beat Duke has lost their very next game in the men's tournament. Even in 2021, Louisville eliminated Duke from the ACC tournament and was the first out here. How about that statistical anomaly right there?
Yeah, that's impressive, but just as impressive is over the last 4 years, I think Hurley and UConn have not covered, I think, 15-1 ATS, Donnie? So, yes, while Duke might make it difficult for teams to play afterwards, UConn has gone scorched earth now for 4 straight years. It's tough here, but Hurley knows all of that.
Well, it's like in the NFL where it's like you play Detroit, the next week you don't fare so well because they're, really aggressive and wear you down and they're physical. We'll see if that plays out, but just one of those interesting stats here. Here's Coach Hurley talking about, hey, UConn, they got passed over? What?
Like, the reality is that moment's over. It's an incredible moment. You'll have that the rest of your life. But we came here for rings, not watches. Everyone that comes to the Final Four gets a beautiful watch. But only one group's going to get a ring. So get off social media, stop injecting the dopamine into your arm, and get serious about the preparation and the practice, because we don't hang banners for Final Fours at UConn. We hang national championship banners, and if you want to hang a banner, you got to get your eyes off social media, get your face out of the phone, and get locked in on Illinois, because Illinois is one of the best teams in the country, and they're as big a threat to winning this tournament as any of the 4 teams.
Oh, he's taking shots at people there, Joe. We only hang banners for championships here. I'm not going to wear this stupid watch. I want that ring at this point. UConn sounds focused, just like the head coach.
Well, and Donnie, it's that attitude that since 2023, UConn is 17-1 against the number in the tournament. In fact, the only game they didn't cover was this year against Furman. But they have done this since 2009, Donnie. 33-7 against the number in the NCAA tournament since 2009. UConn, they are a machine.
UConn and Illinois, 2.5-point favorite. Not UConn, they're the dogs. Illinois is the favorite here. We're going to get the game number 2 of the Final Four next and more. Basketball talk on the way, right here on a Friday edition of The Early Line.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 20 what? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
find some opportunities to make yourself some money or to find a middle or, man, that doesn't look right, I'm going to go under that, whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Right back out on a Friday. Love the Final Four. By the way, women's Final Four tonight, men's Final Four on Saturday. We previewed the first one there, Illinois and Connecticut, and we heard from head coach Dan Hurley. Michigan's going to take on Arizona. Here's Dusty May talking about some Final Four action here.
Well, we feel like we're built in a similar fashion as Arizona, and I'll begin with the veterans on both teams and how they've taken this off the bench role, and they've impacted winning almost every game. I just see so many similarities with the intangibles and the team character of both of us. And then obviously when you factor in the size, and both teams get a lot of credit for how good our front lines are, but there's some great guards and very intelligent basketball being played by both teams. And so when we watch them, we see ourselves, other than a few stylistic differences, we see a lot of ourselves in them. And it's going to be a battle. We believe it's going to be won in the 39th or 40th minute of this game.
Dusty May there, the favorites, Michigan, by only 1.5 points here, Joe.
Yeah, and it was funny, Donnie, because in a lot of look-ahead spots, Arizona was the slight favorite here, and not much has changed. Not like either team went through some sort of crazy losing streak here, but, you know, the market quickly in a lot of spots just flipped it and said, no, we think Michigan is the better team here. Listen, Dusty May has been here and done this before, which, you know, matters. We know coaching matters in college basketball here. Two teams, I agree, very similar. But, you know, when he was here with FAU, feels like a million years ago, Donnie, doesn't it? But when he had that FAU team in the Final Four, they were built totally different than what this Michigan team is. But Brad Underwood, bottom line, never been here before. Can we trust him to make the right decisions in game and adjustments to get it done? Usually experience matters in these spots, and Dusty May has it.
Final Four, the favorites here. Michigan at a plus 145 price. Arizona plus 180. UConn plus 650. And Illinois plus 470. Four really good basketball teams here, Joe. The favorites, the Michigan Wolverines.
It makes, you know, again, Arizona was the favorite for a lot of weeks here, Donnie. And a lot of people thought even going into this, into the tournament, it was still Arizona. But Michigan has gained a lot of steam here. And I think the big difference between the two, Donnie, is going to be simply who can score from the perimeter, who can make more threes. Michigan, they have won games from the outside. Arizona, not so much. So it's going to be interesting to see the style. And are we getting 160 or more points in this game? I think that's the real question here, is what kind of game does this end up being? A wild shootout or a total rock fight?
Football stadium at the highest stage there. Maybe a slower start to get out there. Maybe Monday, whatever team gets there, they sort of settle into the court. We'll find out certainly on a great Final Four Saturday here. Let's get to some NBA talk. The Spurs showed up yesterday, Joe, in Los Angeles. Oh, no, Wemby's not going to play. What happens? A 118-99 final where the Spurs blow the doors off the Clippers. And here's Harper talking about destroying the Clips without Wemby.
You might see them in the first round of the playoffs. You're playing them without Vic, and you beat them by 20-something. Do you feel like that makes some sort of statement to somebody?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think for us going in this game, obviously Vic was out, so just next man up mentality. But, you know, making a statement on the game and just all of us being connected and just have that same fire as we had all year. So coming off the back-to-back, you know, we didn't want to show no kind of, not remorse, but we didn't want to show kind of a weakness and just coming out here and playing our game.
Watch out for those Spurs. Young team. Are they ready to win in the playoffs? Are they ready, Joe, to take down OKC?
I mean, listen, if I'm the Clippers, that's terrible. With no Wembanyama, an opportunity to bounce back, you got all your guys healthy on the court, and you got steamrolled with the Spurs shooting what? 72% from the floor in the second quarter alone, which is where they buried the Clippers last night. That's where that game was won. They absolutely destroyed them in the second quarter. And once again, Donnie, another first half demolition by the San Antonio Spurs, putting teams behind the eight ball and making it very hard to come back in the second half.
April Fool's jokes. Like sometimes I go over like, you're fired. It's funny. Hey, knock, knock, who's there? And it's all fine and good. Understand this. The Wizards, to me, are the most insignificant sports franchise in professional sports. A complete loser franchise that doesn't factor in no matter who they have on the team for anybody to care. I've never met a Wizards fan in my entire life. Let's be on the point. So they decide to have an April Fool's joke. It's like, okay, let's see what we can do. When all the mascots out, we'll have a guy blindfolded, we'll have him shoot from half court, and we'll trick him to think he actually made the basket and won $10,000. They celebrated, and it turns out it was an April Fool's joke where the in-game announcer's like, you watch it on the screen. Oh, you didn't make it here. They had to apologize for that. So if you are a person that participated in this, right? Okay, blindfold me, I'm going to shoot it. You know if you felt like you actually had the distance on the shot or if it was probably going to go in or not. And also you have to understand, it's April Fool's Day that you did this. Do you think that person is upset is going to sue? They didn't get the $10,000 or probably took it as a lighthearted joke. But the fact that he had to apologize for this, where did we get as a society that you can't play a joke on somebody for something like that on April Fool's Day? Was it malicious? Absolutely not.
No, it wasn't, right? But again, the interesting thing here is that you've got what, 16, 15 wins on the season, Wizards. The fact that you have anybody paying money in the stands to actually come and watch you play basketball, you can't do them dirty like that. Like, come on, know the audience. You got to be kidding me here. But hey, listen, they got to apologize. I thought it was very well thought out. I just don't think they considered what the ramifications were if things went sideways, and they went sideways.
But and also, like, you're right about this. It's a bad organization. Like, again, insignificant to say the least here. But a smart organization would have pulled that prank, showed it on the highlight, gave him the big check, took it away, and then joked, and then came right back out that big check. Sponsored by Comcast. We're taking care of you. You were a good participant here. Here's your 10 grand. And you know what it went from? Hilarious. Oh my goodness. How could you do that? He got his 10 grand. So you get your viral moment and a feel good moment at the same time. And it only cost you $10,000. And also for a franchise that desperately needs good publicity here, that could have worked out in your favor here. You know what else should work out in your favor? Getting Cade Cunningham back on the court for Detroit. I ain't seen this man in years, it feels like, Joe.
Yeah, it has, but the sooner the better for Detroit. I think it's safe to say, Donnie, that although they've actually been pretty good without him, I think they're 7-2 without him since he had the issue. And, just again, another win by the Pistons over the Timberwolves without Cade Cunningham. They're going to want him back for the postseason. So let's hope. They said they might test him sooner rather than later just to make sure. I hope he's back sooner rather than later for Detroit.
Here's the Pistons coach talking about how they're persevering without Cade.
Back and forth this one was. How impressed are you now sitting back on what you guys were able to just do?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough one for us, to be honest with you. Didn't start out the way we would have liked. A lot of turnovers in that first half. First quarter we gave up some things we didn't want to give up. But, again, I give our guys credit. They just seem to figure out a way. And typically it starts with our defense. But then we have guys just step up. DJ was awesome tonight down the stretch. Obviously, the pressure that JD put on people. But, it's collective. And so many guys contributed. Like, AT was unbelievably defensively. So we had so many guys contribute, which is typical of this team.
Superstars, Joe, got to play a certain amount of games if they want postseason awards. Bleacher Report sends out the signal. Anthony Edwards is now ineligible for any end-of-season awards after being ruled out against the Pistons. As a Sixers fan, rule him out again tonight against the Sixers, please.
Records when he was on the court this year either. So, but hey, listen, I think if you ask him, the only thing that's going to matter is what happens in the postseason and beyond right now. So I think that's the right attitude.
I'll tell you the right attitude again in the NBA tonight on a Friday night. You got a 15.5-point favorite for the Charlotte Hornets. Got a 16-point favorite tonight for the Road Hawks. Got a 16.5-point favorite tonight for the Knicks. I got a 17.5-point favorite tonight for the Houston Rockets. I got a 13-point favorite for the Toronto Raptors. I got another 17-point favorite for the Boston Celtics. This league stinks! And you can't argue with me about that. But you know what? You'll be back after the break. We'll see you then.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 21? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money, or to find a middle, or man, that doesn't look right, I'm going to go under that, whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
One thing I don't remember in my life, Joe, is my call up to the major leagues here to get my first start and have some fun. It wasn't in hockey, it wasn't in football, it wasn't in basketball, but the Pittsburgh Pirates are bringing up one of the best young prospects in Major League Baseball today on a Friday. Connor Griffin expected to be called up by the Pirates ahead of their home opener on Friday. That's how you do it here. The interesting part was, though, Joe, I think they were waiting to bring him up because they wanted him to sign one of those team-friendly, we're going to buy out your arbitration years. If you get really good, it's a bargain. If not, it won't hurt us that bad. They weren't able to come to an agreement there, but he is up here and ready to go.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, again, Donnie, were waiting, hoping that he would have started anyway the season up on the roster here. But hey, listen, we're a week in, and this is what, for some reason, teams do. It's kind of the stupidest thing that we see year after year. But, I mean, listen, he does strike out a lot, but it looks like if he's not striking out, he is absolutely mashing the ball. It's a market worth keeping a look at, Donnie. We'll talk more about it on PME, but I'm telling you, this kid at this price, there's some decent rookie of the years, but I don't know that anybody's got the kind of power that this kid does. And if they're going to keep him up and play him, he's certainly going to get a lot of eyeballs because of somebody who pitches on that team. Let's just say that.
Isn't that great? Like the contract, like restraints, like we're going to bring you up in week 2 of the season. We just don't think you're ready for game. Major League Baseball's got so many funny little intricacies where we don't want to pay. We'll bring you up on opening day. Your time won't start enough in time. Enough of the madness. At least that kid's up in the major leagues, but he should have been there on opening day, people. Let's be honest. The Yankee starters, Joe, have allowed just 2 earned runs, which is a .53 ERA through the first 6 games of the season. Wheeling and dealing in New York.
They are good, Donnie. I mean, and listen, the best is yet to come, right? I mean, they still got a couple of guys they're planning on meeting them here right around that June, July era, or time frame. I mean, they get Cole, they got Rodon still coming back here, but so far early returns, very good, and they're staying healthy, and it's nice to see that Devin Williams is not being called to blow games late. So yeah, it's a good time here for New York.
Model of consistencies, Joe, that shows how good an organization is from top to bottom, from their major league players all the way through they bring up from their minor league system. Did you know the Los Angeles Dodgers haven't had back-to-back losing seasons since 86, 87? That's fantastic. But then you take a look at the St. Louis Cardinals. 1958, 1959, the last time they had back-to-back losing seasons here. See what they can do this year, Joe. That's a pretty impressive feat to say, you know, fan base, you got something to cheer for just about every damn year.
Yeah, they do. And I think, Donnie, I mean, talk about the epitome of consistent, right? It's just it's a great baseball town, one of the baseball town. Anybody that's been to St. Louis there, I mean, they love their baseball. Sorry, Blues fans. But they love their Cardinals. And that organization has done it right for decades, Donnie. And that's why even on some down years, really they're not like Colorado Rockies down. Like even the down years don't last that long, but my goodness, they are certainly the opinion. I don't know why other teams don't follow. You know, if it seems to be working for as long as it's been working, something tells me I'd like to mimic my organization, kind of like, I don't know, what the Cardinals have done over the last 100 years.
Exactly. Back to Major League Baseball on the field. The big dumper. He's taking a dump to start the season, Joe. Cal Raleigh, 15 Ks on the early season. What did you work on in spring training, Cal? What did you do in the offseason, Cal? He's always been a strikeout guy, but come on now, make some contact.
I got to tell you, those predictive market tickets I have, Donnie, on fading him on home runs, fading him on bat. I mean, it's so far so good. Early returns, pretty good on fading Cal Raleigh across the board here. Early yet, but not looking like the same Cal Raleigh from 6 months ago, is he?
Look, set your alarms, people. Why? The Minnesota Twins are telling you to do that here. It's the home opener. Not a lot of expectations for the Twins this year, but maybe come out on opening day and have some fun, no?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you just want... Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll be disappointed by the breakfast as well as the season for the Twins, because it's not likely going to go very well for you. Although, nice win yesterday.
By the way, Joe, speaking of alarms here, don't sleep through your alarm here. How about this? Carter Jensen. We're expecting big things from the kid. Wake up, kid. Wake up.
Yeah, I mean, you
cracks
got
me
a
up.
6-year-old catcher who's preparing to DH today, and then his world gets a little rocked that an hour and a half before the game, he's not going to be DHing. So, you credit to Salvi today for being ready. First and foremost, we're glad Carter's okay, right? I mean, that was kind of the initial thought when you're trying to get a hold of his parents and everything like that, to just make sure everything's okay. But once you find out he's okay, it's like, all right, it's a growing moment. He's really young. There are some things that cannot happen, and that's one of them. So he's going to have to wear it on the chin, the same way anybody would have to. So it can't happen. And, you know, hopefully it doesn't happen again. But it's one of those things that you can't afford mistakes like that in this game. So just gotta move forward the best that he can. I know he feels really bad. I know that it was not his favorite drive to the field this morning, but it wasn't our favorite morning either. Trying to figure out what was going on. So, you know, he'll learn from it and grow up a little bit. And you know, we're here for him though. It's not like anybody's mad at him. Things happen, but you got to learn from mistakes like that and maybe get another alarm clock or something at home.
Joe, help me out with this here, because that was like a real somber locker room right there. It's like, hey, we had to call his parents. We were really concerned about him. Like, people do oversleep, but was this like he overslept for the night game, or nobody went to his house, or nobody just went to knock on his door and say, hey, you overslept a little bit? That sounded like they were scared to death that he did something to himself or maybe went missing. I must be missing some of the info here, no?
It feels like there's more to this story here, because that whole interview there and that looked, I don't know if there was something else going on. Were they mad at the game and just asked them at the wrong time? Because it feels like there might be something else behind the scenes in that story.
Like, yeah, like people show up late to work at times. What car
Right.
trouble when he got there? Look, I honestly, my alarm didn't go off. I'm sorry, I'm here at this point. That made it look like either he was like 2 or 3 hours late,
Correct.
showed up and was like, "Hey, what happened? I don't know." Really, like something had to go on that we don't know about. Otherwise, we're like, "Hey, man, Rook missed his alarm. No big deal. He had to pay a fine. He'll be back with us tomorrow. No big deal." That sounded a little bit different here. You know what else sounds different? Coming back after the break, get more hot topics.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 20 what? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money, or to find a middle, or man, that doesn't look right, I'm going to go under whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's time to get paid, Joe. Get the M-O-N-E-Y. I'll tell you who's really good at that typically. It's quarterbacks here. Take a look at John Ewing's tweet from yesterday. NFL career earnings leaderboard for SportTrack. Matthew Stafford, number one. And by the way, this is just contract money. This isn't off like, hey, I'm making commercials. This is just what you're earning on the field. $408 million for Matthew Stafford. Makes sense. Been around the league. Was one of the last players, Joe, to get that mega deal for a number one overall pick before they started to give those slotted picks out here with their slotted money, which I think makes a lot more sense. Kirk Cousins, number two over Tom Brady. $341 million. And it started while he was in Washington, as you see that, and you like that. He was able to finagle. I'm just going to basically play all of my career on guaranteed money at the top of the pay scale, no matter how much I won on the football field or if I was injured. And it continues now as he is a Vegas Raider here. Kirk Cousins, $341 million in Cole's cash and counting, Joe.
Guy's the GOAT as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you're talking about $341 million that this guy has made over this 11 years that he's been here. And I can't think of how he's gotten away with it as long as he has. It tells you about the state of the quarterback position in the NFL. The NFL is willing to pay whatever they got to pay if they think that you can play quarterback or at least hold the fort down. And nobody's been better at it than he has been. Unreal.
Yep, just stayed straight. And again, this is a guy that lives in a modest house, was driving a minivan, and has all of this cash right now, loves to shop at Kohl's. Fantastic stuff for Kirk Cousins. Just keeps making money. Here's an interesting story that's hitting. We're worried about Tiger Woods and where he's going to actually fly out to and go get some help here as he checks into a facility. But how about Puka Nacua? Checked himself into a private facility here. And also, this was done before a lawsuit came against him. Why? For a New Year's incident where he was drunk and ended up biting somebody. Here's the interesting part about this. The agent's getting ahead of this story. Why? Because NFL teams, they will draft you with maybe a checkered past. I'm not saying Puka Nacua even had one here, or if you have some issues with the franchise. But you know what they worry about, Joe? Giving you that mega deal knowing that you might have some issues. And I'm not saying in Philadelphia everything is perfect, but Jalen Carter is an unbelievable talent. There's a reason why he doesn't have in his pocket that massive extension, because they're weighing, saying, we know some things about you here. If we give you $100 million guaranteed, will you still be that hungry player? So Puka's trying to get right before that big dollars comes. Or if the Rams go, hey, we're checking in on A.J. Brown because we might want to swap out Puka Nacua because we don't want to pay him if he's going to act like this, Joe.
Well, you just saw JSN pocket a 4-year, $168.6 million deal. So I guarantee the people in his camp, the ones behind the scenes there, yeah, they probably grabbed him by the ear and threw him in the car and said, "Listen, you're gonna shut up and you're gonna go away and you ain't gonna be drinking, you ain't gonna be taking Instagrams of being passed out in the back of cars. Like, go get the help you need because they got a big time repair of the image thing going on right now because nobody's going to give him that kind of money if they think he's a loose cannon."
It's like the NBA players in the offseason where they're set to get that mega contract. The agent goes, don't you dare work out for the next 21 days. Sit on your couch because the only thing from you getting $250 million or not is you blowing your knee out or crashing on a motorcycle at this point. And that's what the agent's like. You're about to get paid a lot of money and you're messing it up right now. Let's get ahead of this. Let's show contrition and let's get back on the football field and absolutely dominate for a long career. You know who dominated for a long career as well? How about Stephon Gilmore? He's hanging it up, announcing his NFL retirement after 13 seasons, a 5-time Pro Bowler and a Defensive Player of the Year in 2019, and also won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. It's hard to play cornerback in the NFL for that long. He did it at a high level.
A very high level. I mean, in his prime, man, he was lockdown, man. He was one of the best. I mean, his first 5 years, I remember with the Buffalo Bills, right? Back in the day there, and then he kind of bounced around, but at the height of it, nobody better at locking guys down on that side of the field. Kind of hard to believe, 13 years. Wow.
Yeah. 13 years. Guess who is a girl dad here? Buffalo Bills starting quarterback Josh Allen. I'm a girl dad as well, and hard to discipline. I get yelled at by the wife. You're not going to discipline her. It's just a girl. How am I going to discipline a girl at this point here? Great to be a girl dad here. Gets you out a lot of issues around the house because the wife can handle that. But Josh Allen, welcome to the club, brother.
Yeah, there you go, Josh. Good stuff. Now, that's all great and fine and dandy, but how about a Super Bowl ring now? Okay, that's what the girl would really like. Yeah, so get to it.
Get a lot of this around the house. You're not going to discipline her if the way she just talked back to me. Nope, I'm not going to discipline her. You're going to do it. It's my daughter. How can you do that here? Nonsense. Good Friday here continues right here on the SportsGrid Network. We'll be right back.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 20 what? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money or to find a middle or, man, that doesn't look right. I'm going to go under that, whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Spring break, a lot of people off. It's a Good Friday. Got Easter Sunday this week. Got the Final Four women's edition tonight on a Friday. Got men's Final Four on a Saturday, championship game on a Monday. And away we go into the spring, which leads us next week, Joe, into the Masters tournament. It's going to be without Tiger Woods and without Phil Mickelson. The hot topics for hour number 2 keep flowing. And we had our alarm set correctly, Joe. We never show up late, and we give the people what they want.
Absolutely, Donnie, and we are in store for quite the weekend coming up. Like you said, think about it: Masters, a Kentucky Derby, a lot of those big time events, all within the next month here. So it's going to start this weekend with the Final Four, leading into finally crowning a national champion in college basketball.
And the NFL draft, the schedule release, and before you know it, voila, it's football season. But before we get there, we got to get you the hottest topics. It's Donnie right side. It's Joe Ranieri. It's the SportsGrid Network, and it's the early lineup, which includes Kirk Cousins. The man is minted. He makes a lot of money to maybe not even play starting quarterback in the NFL anymore. He goes to the Vegas Raiders, who hope to draft Mendoza #1, and Kirk Cousins is a mentor for about $20 million guaranteed in 2026. You like that, Joe? I know you do.
I absolutely love that. In fact, Donnie. I mean, you got to be kidding me. He has been one of the ultimate guys in all of professional sports that just continues to get teams to write him checks, and not with the intention of winning a Super Bowl. That's the amazing thing, Donnie. They have written him checks over the years just to hold the fort down so they could actually get a franchise quarterback somewhere along the line. Unbelievable, the career that he's carved out for himself.
There you go, out in Vegas, having some fun, driving around in the minivan. We'll see what trouble Kirk can get into here. But how about those Pittsburgh Pirates, Joe? The one thing that we do know is we hear from Paul Skeens, who sort of said it time from time, like not directly but indirectly, look, it'd be nice to win around here. And if I'm not going to win around here, maybe I got to go elsewhere. He's going to be a Yankee in a couple years. Well, Connor Griffin's making his major league debut today as the #1 overall prospect in baseball to hit home runs and maybe be a Yankee in 4 to 5 years as well when they decide they don't want to pay him arbitration money and is out of his years at this point. But it's a good sign for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Can you imagine, Joe, over the past, 20 years, if Pittsburgh just kept their stars in town, they might actually be pretty competitive here. Here's one of those players they hope can make them competitive, and we'll see if they keep him. But he's up in the majors today.
Yeah, he is, and that's good stuff here. But again, there are still, he's young. There are some concerns. I mean, the 171 batting average in spring training, that might be a problem because in the bigs, sure, everyone can hit home runs, but you're going to have to put the ball in play here. And if he does, it could be very interesting for the Pirates moving forward.
Can be very interesting. How about Trevor Bauer still kicking it around the Long Island Ducks, who, by the way, have a long history of signing aging/washed-up superstars to come play baseball and maybe restart their career. He is signed, but Major League Baseball has basically told him, didn't he have like a 3-year, like $150 million contract with the Dodgers that went up in smoke and barely even made it through even a season of that? He's not getting back to Major League Baseball, but he's still playing baseball.
Yeah, I mean, he's 35 now. He spent last season with the Yokohama Bay Stars and wasn't exactly great. 4.10, 4.41 ERA. Did throw 133 and 2/3 inning. That's his second stint in Japan. But listen, if he shows, I think at this point, Donnie, if he shows any sort of real major league potential where he could help a team somewhere along the lines, he'll probably get himself a shot. But at this point, not so much.
Understand this as well. Like, we've had people do devious things in all professional sports. If your talent is there, you usually get a second chance. But a lot of those are the talent is there and they get around and get along with the locker room here. That was always an issue for Trevor Bauer as well. So if Major League Baseball is like, we don't like the headlines, and the locker room's like, we don't even like the guy, that makes it even harder to come back into Major League Baseball or professional sports. But he's trying to get back. Phil Mickelson, he's not going to get back to the Masters this year. He loves the Masters. Multi-time winner, putting on that green jacket. No Tiger, no Phil this year for 2026. That sounds like a good senior tour right now, Joe.
Yeah, it does. And, I mean, listen, it's always good seeing Phil rolling around out there, having fun, yucking it up. But really, at this point, isn't he supposed to tee it off at you're 1 year away from 6:05 tee time on a Thursday to start the tournament, Phil? Like, who are we kidding here? You, Jack, Gary Player, if he's allowed on the course, that's what we're talking about here.
Put the band force him out there and let him get around out there on the guy. Tiger, Phil, Gary Player, who the hell knows who else can fill out that fourth spot here and get around that course. Luka Doncic, how about this? Then you say, hey, look, I got to get you in for an MRI. That's never a good sign. The minute you hear hamstring injury, it's an even worse sign here. Is it the end of the season for him? Maybe not, but that's probably going to be a few-week injury here. The Lakers had a lot of momentum until last night when they got blasted by OKC and lost their best player.
Yeah, I mean, listen, one law doesn't count any, but you didn't lose 5 games by losing one game last night. Whether you lost by 1 or 100, I get it here. But you lost more than just the game if Luke is unable to go here heading into the postseason. It looked like they really turned a corner. 9-1 in their last 10. They've been playing some of their best basketball, but you are not going to be able to survive without Luka here in the West. So could have lost more than just a game last night, Donnie.
Italian national soccer team. They used to win World Cups. Now they don't win any World Cup games. Now, Joe, they don't even qualify for World Cup competition. They sacked the leader of their organization, and rightfully so. 3 straight World Cups without Italy in it? God, that's madness, Joe. It's madness.
It's kind of crazy it took this long. People need to understand it's, we think of soccer like, great soccer. Like, for Italy, I mean, it is a religion there, and this was a team, Donnie, and a country that has more pride in their soccer than most, and the fact that they haven't been able to make it, it's just it's not good there. So hopefully a little change will right the ship here a little bit for Team Italy.
How about some change in the SEC? Understand this. The SEC championship game, the Big Ten championship game, they didn't come because hey, this is a better avenue to make the college football playoff. It was, how can we make more money? We'll go to ESPN, CBS, or NBC, or ABC and say, we're going to sell you a game at the end of the year that you can make a lot of money on. Ooh, great, that's fantastic. Now, organizations like the SEC, Joe, are finding themselves going like, wait, it's better to actually not play in this game to make the college football playoff than playing it? Absolutely. Because we started going down that path of, well, if you make the SEC championship game, we're not going to hold it against you if you lose it because it's like a bonus game. Nonsense. It's a game on your schedule. You scheduled it here. You got to the SEC championship game. You lose it, you shouldn't make the college football playoff at that point. And SEC's going, you know what? That makes sense here. We might be looking to abolish it. And you know what, Joe? They're right.
I'm with him. I think that ship has sailed now. You know what I mean, Donnie? It really has. So it can't help you. I mean, another one of those situations where you're smarter than everyone else until all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore, right, Donnie? And then you get penalized for it. So yeah, I don't know that they're going to be able to do anything about this. And it all depends on what everyone else is going to do too, as well. They're all going to follow suit here, Donnie.
Yeah, because they all like money, but all of a sudden their teams are telling you, again, we had the conversations even up to this last one in the expanded playoff. Oh, they're already in. Like, wait a second. What do you mean they're not even playing in their championship game? I have to play in a championship game, and if I lose that game, I'm out and they're in and they didn't make it to that game. That's when you know it jumped the shark at that point and it needs to go away. Because technically, Joe, They are meaningless football games at this point. Make the college football playoff, take away the championship game. Nobody cares. Does anybody remember, do you even remember who wins the conference championship 2 to 3 years ago? No. You're going to remember who wins the national championship, and that's the end game goal here, Joe. And also, if you make me commissioner, Joe, no more cupcakes. You only play the teams in your conference, and that's it, Joe. I have the plan. I do.
Yep, and they should call you right now as soon as the show's over,
Yes.
Donnie. You need to put this in bullet points and send it out to them because enough's enough there, SEC.
And I guarantee I won't drive myself. I will get a driver to make sure I'm all there for the people at all moments, Joe. Yes, sir. Kevin Walsh comes up next. GTD host.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 20 what? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money or to find a middle or, man, that doesn't look right. I'm going to go under whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Rocking and rolling on a Friday. It's the early line. And a good Friday it is here, and a great weekend of sports action. Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri, and Kevin Walsh coming into the mix here. And when I say mix here, Kevin, let me bring up a little story here. Like back in the day, when I used to have a couple hoagie shops here, we could not stand this time of year because it was 5 to 6 Fridays a year that people were trying to stay away from eating meat, which means we had to mix a lot of tuna fish on the fly here to keep it fresh. This is always a great day in the hoagie business because once this day ended, you get back to normal Fridays here. So the question I want to ask you, Kevin, how much meat you eating today? Do you stay away from meat? Like what goes on there? Do you follow along?
You do what you can. I think when it comes to something like this, you try and you put your best foot forward. If you slip up, you slip up. Ask for forgiveness, But yeah, look, I love a good tuna fish sandwich. So, that's all right with me.
By the way, the sacrifice, like, hey, you can't eat on Friday. All right, I'll knock down 2 pizzas. I mean, that's not too big of a sacrifice to ask the people in the streets. But also, when you have Lent, Kevin, you got to give up pasta on the pizza. No? I mean, that can't happen. Is that what you gave up this year?
You need even more. I literally last night had pasta on pizza. So, I mean, there was a chicken franchise slice going around too. So, yeah, we had a couple of different options in the house.
All right, let's go over some more Yeah, let's go over some more options here in the NBA because your boy DRS goes, you know what? I probably can't name the coach of the Lakers, which I can. Probably can't name the coach of the OKC, which I don't know if the coach. I'm dead serious. The coach of OKC.
No.
Can I get a hint? Can you give me a
one
hint?
Of your guys. MD, is it the initials? That's not going to help him. All right, so Mark Dagnall versus JJ Redick. All right, keep going.
There you
You're
go.
on a roll.
There you go.
Now, when I introduced this game to you, Kevin, I don't care anything about OKC, but I said, no, you should be betting OKC last night. Bam! Another blowout winner for your boy DRS, the best NBA handicapper. But, Kevin, that loss came at a big expense with Luka Doncic. Talk to us about the Lakers and what we expect now.
Yeah, so I expect the Luka Doncic injury to completely be the nail in the coffin in the unbelievably useless 65-game rule, to the point where the rule might actually get abolished before the season is over. Luka has played 64 games. Certainly no world either one of you are going to attempt to tell me that Luka hasn't been one of the 5 best players in the NBA. Luka right now, though, will not be able to make even the third All-NBA team. Again, we've gone over this recently. Luka was never winning MVP. That was on display in this basketball game. So what will happen, and Silver has about, 10 days to figure this out. Either he abolishes the 65-game rule, or Luka will suit up against the Jazz in the final game. Jackson Hayes will grab whatever random Utah Jazz players out there. Lord knows who they'll start in the final game of the season. And Luka will sit down, meet the 65-game rule, and it will be such an embarrassment. It'll be the last time we see it. It is a rule that has literally never made sense. I cannot believe people still defend it. The point of the rule is to get guys to play more. So I ask you this. Is anyone playing more thanks to your precious 65-game rule? Or does Luka have maybe a torn hamstring, Cade Cunningham a collapsed lung, and I have no idea what's going on with Anthony Edwards, but he's not meeting the minimum either.
Joe?
So, I agree. It's like putting a Band-Aid on open heart surgery. Like, the issue goes much further than say, obviously it's not working. Obviously guys don't really care about the awards market as much as they thought they, to me, it was all an optics thing.
They're hurt. They're not.
They're not optics is all it was.
Injured or hurt, two different things.
Okay, so Donnie, again, Lord, have you found the clip of Luka from last night? I know you didn't see the game.
Come on.
Did you see the clip of Luka? Do you think that Luka in that moment was like, actually, you know what? I'm so good on being out here. And that just, no. He was pulling at his hamstring the first quarter of the game and played until it went. You guys don't, what are we doing here?
Nope.
It's a rule that accomplishes nothing. All the rule has accomplished is making the all-NBA teams worse. That's all it's done. Did Wemby play last night? Does anybody know what Wemby scored last night? Nothing. He didn't play. It accomplishes nothing.
But here's what we do, Kevin, to get around it. If you're Luka, you want to make this team, jump ball. I sit on the side.
That's what's going to happen, Donnie.
That immediately, Kevin. We go sit on the bench. Why can't we
Donnie,
do that?
It's going to happen.
Come on now. That's how you play games.
Donnie.
I would let.
No, Donnie, it's going to happen.
I guarantee you why it would never happen.
I
you
guarantee
know why
it
never happens.
No, Donnie, because he's already going to, the scoring title's clinched, so he can't lose the scoring title. He's never winning league MVP. He'll score 0, and it's fine. I guarantee you, he's going to foul some kid named Bez Mabang on the Utah Jazz, and then peace out. And they're going to give him a standing ovation. And the rule's done. Thank goodness. Couldn't be done quick enough.
Not before he gets a technical, though, because he'll probably go out that way, too.
He will intentionally foul someone and then get like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Luka, you were trying to foul him. Like, come on, bro.
Yes. You're purposely trying to get thrown out. Unbelievable. So what happens now with the Lakers, though? I mean, no Doncic. He's getting an MRI today, so we don't know what the severity is, but are they dead in the water?
Oh, I mean, certainly, right? Could they still beat the Rockets if that ended up being the round 1 matchup? Maybe, just because Houston are an abomination and hate one another. But
Right.
it's impossible to imagine this Laker team going anywhere beyond that. The other thing that's tough for the Lakers is there was an idea that if they played San Antonio in round 2, there'd be this experience versus youth thing that maybe could be in their favor. But now, if they drop down to the 4 seed, because who knows? I mean, maybe not, but you cannot even remotely convince yourself this Laker team could hang with OKC, even if Luka was out there. So now, who knows, though? Maybe it's appropriate. LeBron's Laker tenure will end with him out there once again without the guy who's supposed to be the best player on the team actually healthy. So he has to go and do it on his own.
Some are saying the most important game time decision in the history of the channel takes place tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern with Kevin and Gabe. Make sure you catch him there, Kev. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll be right back.
Parlays are pretty much the reason that FanDuel and DraftKings were able to become profitable a couple years ago. Think about a straight bet that someone places on a sports book, usually about 5% hold rate for a sports book. A parlay, it's about 20%. So there's a reason that all the promos you get, all the advertisements, all centered around parlays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I think the Eagles make the most sense for the trade. The Browns need a wide receiver.
They do.
They need as many picks as possible. The Eagles are built to win right now. So where do they pick 21? Do you have that?
I believe it's 23.
All right, so let's assume it's 23. You give up the 23rd overall pick.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money, or to find a middle, or man, that doesn't look right, I'm going to go under, whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
The fun continues right here on the Early Line. It is a Good Friday edition. It's Sonny Rightside, and it is Joe Ranieri. More hot topics on the way. Best bets to send you to the weekend. Absolutely. But before we get there, the money grab known as the World Cup coming to North America here. Sports Business Journal sent a tweet out. Fans were left frustrated by long waits, technical glitches, and higher prices as FIFA opened the final 2026 World Cup ticket sales phase. According to The Athletic, a Category 1 ticket to the final now tops $10,000 with prices rising across dozens of matches. And also, Joe, in the state of New Jersey, in an area around the Meadowlands, which is where the World Cup is going to be at MetLife, they are introducing in the state, Joe, an extra 10% increase in sales tax and also Airbnb charges here. Everybody gouging from every angle for what's supposed to be the People's World Cup.
I mean, listen, everybody is now between that and the Olympics, it's nothing but a money grab. That's all it is. It's ridiculous the amount of people that line their pockets and the multi-millions of dollars that go everywhere except where they should. But it's supply and demand, right? You're only getting $10,000 for a tier 1 ticket. You know why, Donnie? Because they'll pay and they'll sell out in 10 minutes. So It is what it is, unfortunately. None of these events are ever for the actual common fan. It's only for the truly elite who can afford to go.
And understand this too. What Joe's talking about is the FIFA came out and said we're going to make $20 tickets across the board. Everybody enjoy it here. The ticket scalpers would eat those up and find ways to manipulate, the system here, and they would all be $1,000 tickets on the resale market anyway. So there's no real way anymore to get around this. It just is what it is. It's a rich man's game. If you got $5,000, go watch a World Cup game. If you don't, you're going to stay home and watch it on TV, just like everybody else. Now, Joe, we're going to get to what the people are been talking about, or have they? I can't wait to introduce this. Fade the public poll. Now, we always talk about men's sports, women's sports, ratings, and who cares about what. A lot of people waking up today, Joe, going, I can't wait for the Final Four. Oh, it's tonight. No, wait, what's tonight? Oh, the women's Final Four is tonight here? Well, we asked at SportsGrid, Joe, which spread are you taking in the Final Four for the women's here? Gamecocks getting points, Huskies favorite, Texas favorite, UCLA getting the points here. Joe, I'm seeing 2 votes, and one of them was actually me at this point here, Joe, in this. 2, I'm telling you, it's just, well, there might be an error, Joe, but is that just, the way it's supposed to be? Only 2 votes?
Oh, Donnie. It's if only, the problem is when they come up with these poll questions, they only have 30 seconds to do it, I guess. But no, listen, Donnie, I'm not quite sure what they're asking there, but if they're asking which team am I betting, the team would be UConn. That's who I'm betting. UConn and UCLA is who I have in the final, and I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah. Don't confuse the people. They don't like that. But by the way, you know what the people like? Money in their back pocket. It's Friday. It's payday. Here comes bye, bye, bye. Give the people what they want, Joe. It's a Friday night. We got baseball. We got hockey. We got basketball. Where do we go?
Well, let's face it here. I hate to do this, and I don't know what that graphic is.
I love where you're going.
I'm going to go with the New York Mets, not the Nets. The New York Mets tonight against the Giants. I just don't want the Mets to be confused with the Nets here. But the New York Mets tonight taking on the Giants. Listen, the New York Mets are batting 155 with runners in scoring position this year. They are 11 for 71 through the 7 games. They lost again last night because Chapman hits a ball down the line that barely hits the chalk, and that was how that game was blown open here. But listen, the Mets are far too talented of a lineup for this to continue. They got McLean on the mound here today. I'm not buying Tyler Mahle in any way, shape, or form. Yes, he had a good year last year, but I don't expect him to have the same kind of season this year. I think the Mets bats come alive in this game. They are not going to hit 155 forever with runners in scoring position. I like McLean to limit the Giants. I'll take the Mets at a pretty decent price at about -120.
I'll flip it over to the association tonight. Nobody wants to take the Milwaukee Bucks. They're getting 17 points. Your boy DRS is going to take the Milwaukee Bucks. Why? Because only 35% of the public currently betting the Milwaukee Bucks. You don't want the Bucks. DRS wants the Bucks. Let's go +17. And by the way, shout out to the producers to try to give Joe the money line Brooklyn Nets price tonight as his best bet. Yeah! Predict the markets.
And now I got to bet it. Now I have to bet it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
What about the expansion stuff? Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kevin? So but it's 28, 29. He's already talked about, yeah, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and in the 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
I wonder if you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any of sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball announced yesterday that they will be having a partnership this season with a company that we've come to be very familiar with over the last 6 months. Polymarket is the exclusive prediction market partner of Major League Baseball and the only platform allows to use teams, logos, and marks. Representing the latest pro league to embrace the prediction markets.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.